JAWS Mental Health Awareness, produced by Emily Gallmer, led by Jennifer A. Whitaker. Take it away, Emily. Let's go.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to our first JAWS Mental Health Awareness show of 2023. And the JAWS Mental Health Awareness is part of the World of Ability Podcast Network. And I am Emily, one of the co-hosts today, along with Jennifer, and Kurt Roskoff is also here. And would also encourage everybody to go to all of our JAWS Coffee Chat social media and like, share, subscribe, comment, interact with our pages, and wherever you found us. So I'm gonna pass it over to Jennifer. So,
thank you, Emily. Everybody, if you haven't been here before, JAWS Mental Health Awareness is every Monday, 2:30 Central. If you want to hear us live. And we usually have John Tarr here. However, we're not sure that he will show up today. We're hoping that he's okay and not sick or anything. But we like to talk about mental health on this show, how it interacts with ourselves as different people with different conditions, as well as the world around us, and how those of us that have mental health conditions, when we're struggling with them, we're not just impacting our own lives, but the lives that we impact around us, families, friends, workers, co-workers, customers, clients, people that look forward to seeing you at the gym, or people that look forward to seeing you and worshiping with you at your religious gathering. Wherever that we encounter other people, we are constantly impacting the lives of those people, whether we know them or not. And because of that, on this show of JAWS Mental Health Awareness, I want to touch a topic that is quite personal to me. For some of you, you may have heard me on World of Ability, their Wednesday show back in 2022. And you may remember, if you do listen to the World of Ability's Compassionate Citizens that's on Wednesdays, you may recall that in the summer of 2022, I started to wean off of a seizure medication after having my brain surgery. And I did not expect this. However, the longer I went at the reduced dose of the medication, was the closer I got and the deeper I got in depression. I was still seizure free. So lobectomy served that purpose as far as making me seizure free and making it more manageable as far as my epilepsy. But even though I was not having seizures, some of you may know that I was out during the holiday season as of the second week of December until today, the first Monday of January 2023, that I'm now back. And as far as for my case, that was because I got so down in the dumps of depression that I was even irritable. And that's almost unheard of with depression, because we think depression, sadness, we don't ever think of it conveying itself as irritability or frustration and other high activity symptoms. But I actually learned the hard way that depression actually presents itself in both forms. It can even alternate at the same time. And you may not even know, like I didn't even know that I was depressed, but my mom mentioned how I wasn't helping out around the house and I wasn't doing certain chores I usually would do. I wasn't even doing my own responsibilities in full. I was slacking off on them. Anyway, so all that to say, I ended up in the holiday season, the second week of December until now, New Year's, going back to the 1,200 milligrams, my original full dosage of my seizure medication, because according to my epileptologist, it is also used as a mood stabilizer. So for those of us who have different mental health illnesses, we could all end up on Aptiom, and mine can be for the reasons of seizures with the mental health benefit. Someone else's could be on it for the mental health reason and not even know a thing about the seizure effect of it because they don't even have the episodes like I do with both. However, Emily, Kurt, and I saw this morning that I was back to being giggly and smiling and laughing at stuff, right, Kurt?
That's right. Good stuff.
Okay. And interesting enough, I didn't have any difficulty making content this morning. Nah, there goes Emily shaking her head. Nah. Yep. So, what y'all knew in November of 2021, when I originally started co-hosting World of Abilities Wednesday show Compassionate Citizen, that person is back. I'm back in town and I'm back alive. Yep. There we go. Cheers.
Yeah,
At least that's what
glad to
Emily
have you
says with
back.
her thumbs up. Right. So that said, I had to experiment on my own to realize that even though I don't have epilepsy anymore, I still needed that medication at the full dosage that was originally put at that extreme high dosage for the purpose of controlling severe seizures. And now I need it for the mental health reasons. And so I made the decision on Monday of the second week of December to not only did I, for those of you that remember, do only the Jaws diet that day and not do the afternoon shows, but that also I decided that night, after where my emotions were going, how deep in the hole I was going as far as my depression, to intentionally, based on a conversation that I had in November with my epileptologist, return my milligrams to the full dose of my seizure medication. He permitted it, but he said it'd be up to me to decide, because if I decided to go back to the full dose, I'd have to put up with the side effects. That's the whole reason I didn't want to be on it anymore. Well, in the end, when it gets me giggling and laughing, it's worth being back on that medication and it's worth dealing with those side effects. So, yes, I struggled through a hard time, but I found a solution. I did my research contacting different doctors. I spoke with the one that originally had me on the medication for a different reason, but spoke to him. I asked my therapist what she thought about how I was doing between April of 2022, when I first started seeing her, and July of 2022, when I first started weaning off my seizure medicine. I asked the same question about that period versus after July until December period of my psychiatrist, and both agreed I was a much happier, balanced, and well overall healthy person in the summer. So, putting those together with what I experienced as a patient I made an educated decision upon it being handed to me as my decision in my conversation with my epileptologist. So I took the option of putting myself back at the full dosage, which he agreed, my epileptologist, that if I did that, then he would return to prescribing it at my full dosage. Now, I did not just decide this randomly. I went to my providers and I got their advice. I also researched it looking in my health diary. I keep a health diary to see how I am in different seasons of life. And I remembered the summer being a lot better season for me. I remembered the springtime, even though I had surgery. For some of you may know, I had surgery in March of 2022. And even after surgery, I was in a better place mentally than I was in the fall. So it's through using my analytical skills and looking back to recall different experiences, different moods in life from my own perspective, in addition to these opinions of these different doctors, that's how I came to this resolution. So now I'm back, but I am back at the full dosage of my Aptium upon a doctor's approval, both for me to have the choice and him to agree to both options, whichever one I chose, to stay at the 600 milligrams or to return to the 1200 milligrams. And he said either way, he would prescribe it based on which option I decided to be my long-term treatment plan. So I had to, of course, after making the decision, put the 1200 milligrams in my organizer, because I'm one of those. I have a medicine organizer, and I take that one day's handful out of the organizer. So I did that. And then once I counted my tablets to see how many I had left, meaning how many days worth at the 1200 milligrams dosage, I knew I would need a prescription sometime soon. So I called his nurse line and asked the nurse to notify my epileptologist that I chose to return to the full dosage, and gave them the timeline of when that prescription ran out. From there, the doctor ordered more refills, sent in another prescription, and now I am prepared until the next time that I see him. But all of this starts with each of us as people with mental health issues looking at ourselves and looking back at how we experienced life at different stages in time to realize when we are not quite ourselves. Some of us don't look back. Some of us just think whatever that we're experiencing at the moment is just the way the world is, or life is, or other people are, or whatever's our perspective, depending upon our condition. But that's not the best decision. That's not the best way to go about it. The best way is to look at yourself at different seasons in life. And my best friend did that. She has schizophrenia. And when she did, and she looked at her health diary, she realized after going on this organic diet, an all-natural diet, as a way of using food and nutrition to balance her schizophrenia in place of medication, she saw in her health diary, and looking back, that actually the point that she was the happiest was before she went on this naturalist approach and when she was on a mental health medication called lithium. So then I asked her, without saying her name, I asked her, "Hey, buddy, so what do you think about contacting your psychiatrist and seeing if they will return you to the dosage you were on of of lithium, because it sounds like that lithium was better than this natural diet that you are so determined to do." And she said to me, she said, "Yeah, I really wanted to do that, but then I thought I don't want to deal with all the side effects of medicine." Well, in reality, going the natural way, you're not getting rid of side effects, you're changing side effects. Like I told her, one of the things that her naturalist tells her to eat is a lot of fruit. Well, with fruit, there's sugar. It's a different type of sugar than what we have in cakes and stuff like that. But it's still sugar, so eating high amounts of that every day causes a risk of diabetes, even if it's later in life before someone gets the diabetes. All that to say, there's always a risk, no matter if it's the naturalist way, using natural supplements and diet, or if it's the traditional way, using medication that's by pharmaceutical companies. Everything has a risk. Everything has a pro and con. You just got to pick your battles. But you also need to look at your battles and see which battle was not as hard to function within. Whichever medication or treatment plan, operation, whatever that either you have done and you're able to look back to see is when you were better, you need to return there, or at least talk to your doctors about it. But all this starts with you looking at yourself and looking back on your time of what you have gone through to see when you were at your best functionality, your best mental health stability. And those times are the times we want to spend our whole life in. So whatever it takes, whether it's my best friend going back on lithium or it's me going back to the 1,200 milligrams of Aptium, that's what we need to do. And we each need to take our own responsibility for our own actions. Because whether it's being not so truthful with your psychiatrist and or therapist, or it's not seeing a therapist or psychiatrist to even get their help. Either way, a portion of what you go through is your own fault. Whether you are open and honest with your providers of what you're going through, what you're experiencing, for them to know which medicine is better for you, or it's you just not taking your medicine, or maybe you just not even admitting that you have the diagnosis that somebody gave you, or you go through something and you don't see a provider that can give you a diagnosis and give you a treatment plan to allow you to function at your best ability while having the condition. Denying that you have a condition or not getting it diagnosed and not getting it handled does not eliminate the fact that you still have it. It just allows the battle to be stronger and more dominating. Do y'all have anything to say, Emily or Kurt?
Yeah, that's impressive. I mean, I guess just congratulations. Yeah, I don't even really know at the moment. But yeah, but yeah.
What'd you say?
Kurt, did you have anything quick before you leave?
Sure. Just a quick question on the video here. Emily, do you have this selected? It seems like when we're talking here, my screen isn't showing the there we go. Now you're on. Here we go, on the job training, folks. So there we are. There's me. All right. So now people can see who's talking. So yeah, in terms of mental health, I'm involved with Optimus International, which is all there to be friend of youth, bringing out the best in kids. Every Optimist Club formed to serve the youth, the community, and ourselves. And there's an Optimist Creed, which I think speaks to the direction of mental health a little bit. And Jennifer, you connected to Emily and I through the Happy Neighborhood Project. I see the work that Edwin Edeberry and his wife, Helen Kioma, what they do. I see serving the realm of mental health to talk about happiness as a skill and to have happiness as a default position, kind of serves, one little slice of how people can, take responsibility for their mental health and, choose to take steps and actions and build habits that help bring us to the brighter side of, mental health. And, and I think a lot of progress in the decades of past, especially in the last decade and even the last handful of years, in terms of removing some of the stigma that is associated with mental health and having somebody with a mental health diagnosis. I think basically everyone starts to see this importance of thinking about what you're doing in the mental health side of things. I know, the youth part of my life, there was a lot of stuff shared as I was going through my teen years about positive affirmations and stuff like this. So mental health is something that we all work on, and there are things like prescriptions and mental health medications and so forth that kind of build that path of success a little bit more predictably and a little more assuredly at times. So I think the mental health part of our lives is kind of a venture, an adventure of its own. And, I think, with the show that we do through World of Ability Podcast Network, it's Compassionate Citizens that comes from the Compassionate Citizens Project. So I think this area of compassion is kind of what we're seeing opening up and, being something where, we all affect each other. And I think our awareness of that and the importance of kindness and the age-old virtues of happiness, peace, love, and joy. So I think a lot is being done to kind of help the disposition and kind of help that nudging of being in a better place. But medically speaking, that stuff can all be well and good, but it may not be the end all cure all, to have these behavioral adjustments or to have these skills or to do these things. Sometimes it takes getting with a professional and, kind of having a little bit more intervention from the science and the, the biochemistry and stuff like that. We were with somebody earlier today the product or bodily experience to get a little bit more where like endorphins and things like that are more readily available. So yeah, definitely celebrating the exchange with your friends, Jennifer. A mantra that everybody needs. The greatest healthcare crisis known to humankind is social isolation. So to remember to invite others and to welcome people time days and say, can I help you? And sometimes just being there with people is helpful, and sometimes offering that they can talk and you just listen. Sometimes that's the key. So yeah, a lot of things that this unfolds, but I'm going to have to pass it on. Thanks for having me on here.
for us to do it. But that also means that I'm not at a social place, whether it's the gym where I have certain friends I work out with, or it's the Chamber of Commerce meeting where I meet a lot of other people with high influence that are in the local Katy area. Or among other things I do, sometimes just simply going to the coffee shop or whatever. But there's all these different places where I meet up with different people, even my church and so forth, throughout the week. And if I spent every day here where I was on here doing a full time of this show or a different series on Jaws Coffee Chat, I would not have enough time to spend in public with interaction with other people, which goes to exactly what you're saying is the balance. And I think that also goes to the idea of work and life balance, because for me, the life needs to be a bigger share of the time than the work, because of work involves being here where I'm by myself versus the interaction actually in person on my off days where I'm doing paperwork or other stuff as opposed to the podcast, and I'm interacting with other people, even if it's my best friend Jen. She has a store right here in Brookshire, Texas, and I sometimes just go in and volunteer to play cashier at her store because she wants a day off. I'm not working for her. I'm not technically a cashier, but I'm just simply doing my own work at her desk. And if she has a customer that's ready to purchase something, I check them out. Otherwise, I'm just sitting there doing my own thing. But that gives me the social interaction between with our customers and the personal satisfaction of helping somebody else out. And I have other friends I do stuff like that with as well. That then again, like you're saying, is also a way of helping ourselves. Kurt, are you still with us? He's not. Oh.
Well, mental
So what you
health
gotta
is
say, Emily?
a very important topic. And that needs to be taken seriously. It's not something to really take lightly.
Well, you know, something interesting I heard was, you know how Kurt was saying just now when it was his turn about it becoming a big thing, a big major topic over the last 10 years? I don't think it really became drastically big until the pandemic.
Well, I mean, it's very,
You remember how during the
I think it
pandemic
probably, I think it probably,
Go ahead.
it probably was like kind of like a gradual thing, and maybe not as obvious in certain things until, like you said, the pandemic.
Right, but then it spiked as
Yeah.
opposed to gradual. And so that's why I say it wasn't really till the pandemic that it became a big topic. Like you didn't hear the news talking
not
about
obvious. I mean, I think it's always been an important topic that people are talking about, but I think things like this, of the pandemic and other kind of big things, just bring these kind of like issues out more into the like forefront. Yeah,
mainstream.
because I think everybody's always been talking about mental health for so long. It's just a matter of, you get what I'm saying?
Right. People talk about it, but it didn't really hit mainstream TV as far as being a main topic of the news, like CNN or ABC or MSNBC until the pandemic. That doesn't mean it wasn't already happening, and it wasn't already something that had a gradual growing number of
Yeah, and
people
then
to
with the
suffer from,
pandemic,
but instead you didn't really fight enough to hit mainstream
yeah,
news
everybody
until the
started
pandemic.
focusing more on that one thing instead of mental health being one of like several things.
Well, in the pandemic, it was one of several, because you remember we had the economic crisis, as well as the Black Lives Matter, as well as Asian Lives Matter.
I was just
And
saying
then,
in general as a whole. Like there's more.
well, just
Yeah.
it was one of the more predominant. It was one of the more predominant instead of such a minor topic.
Yeah.
That's what I think you're saying.
Yeah. No, it became more predominant once the pandemic hit.
Right. It was one of the top 5 things. Yep. Because they said that in the pandemic, mental health started to affect people who had no history of it, neither did anybody in their family.
Right.
Of anything mental health related. And I have friends who still now act like the lockdown is still going on, as far as they don't go out anywhere. And a couple other friends of mine were shocked when the two that are staying cooped up in their house said they'd come to my birthday party. And so my birthday party is later in January, but my best friend that sees me all the time was like, what? How in the world did you get those, without saying the name, the guy and the girl to come to your party? I haven't seen them around. Are they even okay? So I texted the two that have been kind of cooped up and hiding out and told them that this other friend of ours that we all know, because we're like all a group of 5 that know each other, was worried about what's going on. And the female just said that they've been just trying to protect themselves from COVID. And so they haven't really come out. And just my birthday party was at a point in time that they just needed a chance to get out because they're so cooped up that they're struggling. And it makes me wonder if it's mental health, because both of them have jobs still. They just have now work from home jobs. So to me, that's like, okay, you have work from home jobs. The lockdown's over, but you're staying cooped up all the time, as opposed to just during work hours that you have to be sitting there, right? And they're not even going to their favorite social place. It's where all 5 of us originally met. And it's just weird. So we've all been concerned about them. But there's people like that we never know could be suffering of something mental health related that just haven't opened up about it, whether it's to us or it's to healthcare providers or whatever. But that there's some reason they go from being social butterflies at every birthday party and every social event that's get together over coffee or whatever, to now suddenly avoiding everybody.
Yeah, even if they're even aware of they have something. It could be.
Well, that's the thing with the
could be
pandemic.
some they have that they just hasn't been diagnosed yet, and it hasn't shown like obvious symptoms or.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Is that's how many lives were affected by the pandemic who had no prior history of mental health illnesses, but stuff like that is where it's showing up still, even though the pandemic is supposedly over.
Yeah.
So there's cases like that, like you say, may be undiscovered. They maybe, someone hasn't uncovered that they have something going on, but that doesn't mean that they don't have it going on, whatever that something is.
Obvious to themselves or the person
with it, really.
Maybe hourly if it's like obvious
But did you know that's the number one key? The number one struggle with mental health illnesses is that the person who has the mental illnesses doesn't know they have it. They don't know they're different.
I
Like when I spent my whole life having seizures, I didn't know seizures wasn't something everybody had.
Yeah.
You know, and whether somebody is depressed or they're anxious or they're panic, like, you know, panic attacks, if they have it, like let's say it was a reaction to the pandemic and they have it for the rest of their lives, they don't necessarily know that that's a diagnosis if they've never been and they're not even in any kind of mental health related field to have any way to have known. They don't necessarily know something's wrong with them, so they don't necessarily know they need to get help or that there is help.
Especially younger people, but even older adults, if it's
Well, a lot of the older adults still don't know. They're very blind to it because no one else has had it before. So they don't know what it is to know it's even a diagnosis.
Yeah, I'm sure how to. So then it's like figuring out the right person to go to and ask questions and get it.
And that's the part where many of them, right? I was going to say, in that part you're talking about is when many of them, somebody brings it to their attention that they can get help. They often are too shy or feel that there's some kind of label of seeking help. Like if they see a psychiatrist, they'll get a certain label on them. Or if they see a therapist, they'll get a certain label on them. That these things place fears of when someone gives them that initiative that they need to see somebody, they don't want to because of these whatever bad labels, right? So somebody could tell them they need to, and then they run into that hurdle, right?
With denial too, with denial that maybe they have whatever it is. And do that for themselves.
I think both.
Maybe telling them this might be what it is, you know, and to go get checked out and that kind of thing.
But I was talking about the
but yeah, the label thing.
To seek help because some people think it gives them a label, meaning like they're embarrassed because of whatever that will categorize them as. There's shame in the idea that you have to see a therapist, or shame of some sort because you have to see a psychiatrist.
Yeah, because of maybe a condition you didn't realize that you had. That's one that's not totally obvious right away.
Oh, it's very hard to identify. I never would have known when I was 14 that I had a mental health condition. I mean, that's when I first got PTSD, but I had no idea. And at that time, I wasn't even diagnosed with my Asperger's. So then again, I had no idea anything was wrong with me besides my epilepsy. And to me, it was kind of like, why did people make fun of me when, you know, if I have epilepsy, I thought that's just normal because that's all what I had spent my whole life having. So I didn't know that I wasn't normal. And I wondered why all these kids made fun of me when I was growing up, my peers. It was blinding to me. If that's all I knew, how was I to know my way wasn't what other people discover and experience?
Yeah.
And that's what I see as a hurdle, whether it's later in life with mental health or it's early in life. It's if that's all you know, you can't necessarily see that your way is not normal because you have nothing to compare it with. You have any new thoughts?
I think just one for our listeners out there to remind or may encourage everybody to take your own mental health seriously, and
Take it seriously.
To get the help they get the help you need in order to either get past it or be able to kind of deal with the situation better. And not just
And if you
and
don't
just
know
not
who
pull
to
it
see
off.
or what
I think it's not important because there could very well be something that
exactly,
could or be something more serious.
and if you're not sure what kind of doctor to see your regular primary care physician and open up to him or her about what you are experiencing, your feelings, your mood, your attitude, emotions, everything, thoughts, fears. Just tell them everything and let them tell you who to see. Whether they can just prescribe medication, or they may send you to a psychiatrist, or they may send you to a therapist, or wherever, whoever. But if you don't know who to see to get your help started, see your primary care physician, your regular family doctor.
Yes. Yes. A good place to start. And put you in the right direction, hopefully.
Right, because primary cares usually say if they can treat it, and if not, then what kind of specialist we need for whatever in the world we go to them about. They know where to point us, even if we don't know which direction to go.
So that was a big point I wanted to. And make sure we got.
Oh yeah, I'm agreeing with you and adding to it of what you share with the
That's a big
audience.
point. I want to make sure that we get through to or out there to our listeners is to take it seriously, and if you need help, then get the help that you need. So it's yeah, I was kind of like you, Jennifer, when I was growing up. I mean, I had felt that something was a little different. I just didn't know what, and didn't get diagnosed with Asperger's until I was in my 20s. So
That's funny. I was in my 20s. I was 26 when I was diagnosed.
I might have been around that same age too. I don't remember exact age at the moment. Yeah.
Wow. That's just odd. Our lives paralleled in quite some ways, didn't they?
They did. So yeah. If something doesn't seem right to you, then to or not just to put off to have it checked into, and not wait until years down the road. It could. And I'd be for the sooner
like my Asperger's, I didn't find
sooner
out
this taken care of, the better. In most cases, I think.
Right. Yeah, Yeah, I was going to say my Asperger's, I didn't find out on purpose. I actually went to stay in an apartment, and there was a psychologist that worked there who somebody called to come to my apartment to help me through a crisis. And that psychologist that helped me through the crisis was the one that originally gave me the diagnosis. I didn't call her. I didn't tell her I needed to talk to her or, whatever. Like, just somebody else in the disability apartment housing told her to come to me to help me because they identified that I was in a crisis, and she gave me the label, the diagnosis. And honestly, it's kind of weird because the therapist in this center was actually a best friend of my mom's.
It's a small,
So
Yeah,
it's a
that's what I
small
was just
world,
gonna
if you
say
know what I'm
then.
saying. So it turns out that she and my mom stay in touch, and she knows about how well I'm doing. And my mom gives her the credit for the first step, which was the identification of the illness.
yeah. I think some of the credit goes to the person in your apartment building. Who
Well, mine was a disability housing apartment. I got depressed there because everybody there was on disability, and most of the ones there were intellectually challenged. And so they they like didn't have the credentials to be able to work. Neither did they have the intelligence because of the types and degrees of disabilities they had. And I was the only one there that worked, and I just got so discouraged and depressed because I was like, why is everybody asking me why am I even trying to work? Doesn't everybody work a job? I mean, what's wrong with me trying to work? But they were all like, no, well, then you can do this and this fun activity here at the center if you just, stop working. You don't have to work to be here. Nobody here works
I
besides
was
you.
referring to the woman who brought it up to the friend of your mom.
Oh yeah, somebody
So I
called
was
her up to help me with
wondering,
the
so that's what
crisis.
we're gonna give a little credit to that person too.
You mean that it was her as opposed to anybody else in that
Yeah,
trade?
well, they're in the sense that she may have got the ball rolling. In that, I mean, she said something to the person, and that
Yeah.
person came out to evaluate and whatever. But because if that person didn't do it, who knows if or when you would have been diagnosed.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, it was kind of surprising. It's like just pops up new stuff. We never know what to expect in life. Like, I remember thinking of things we don't know what to expect. Like, I remember 2019 Christmas, and we were talking about 2020 being a good year. And now in 2023, we all know why 2020 was not a good year, at least in most opinions, right?
In great part, yeah, in great.
Well, but that hit us by shock.
Yeah, in great part to
Number one problem.
COVID.
Yeah, and that surprised pretty much the whole world when we went through what started in February of 2020 while we went into 2020 talking about what a great year was going to be.
Yeah, and here we are going in the opposite direction. But yeah.
Hey, let's not say anything like that. We want 2023 to be a good year
We're
too.
only on our second day, so better.
Right? Let's not ask for anything.
We don't need to be jinxing anything here, so.
I know we don't need to request anything that God delivers without us wanting. You know how some people say there's the power of speaking things into being? So let's not try to challenge that power.
So I think that we might be almost at our hour. 5 minutes away from our hour.
Yes. So go ahead with the next step.
We should have John back next week. Sorry for what?
He got back with you?
He just forgot.
He got back with you?
And was out shopping with his wife. But he would be on the next one coming up, I think. Is what he meant. But as far as any announcements or events, the biggest one for me at the moment is the International Day of Happiness that is occurring on March 17th for St. Patrick's Day. To celebrate the International Day of Happiness, which the official day is March 20th. But the Happy Neighborhood Project is celebrating it a few days early. So everybody can go to the website hnpabc.com/IDH to find out more information and to get your ticket. Tickets are now $30 for the month of January. Starting in February, they are going to be $40. So I encourage everybody, or encourage those who are planning on attending, to get your ticket ASAP. At this event, it's going to last 9 a.m. Pacific to 3 p.m. Pacific. Which is noon to 6 p.m. Eastern. There's going to be speakers, networking, prizes, among other things. Should be a good time. The one thing that's special for this 2023 one is that we are trying to break the Guinness Book of World Records of the most people speed networking at one time. The current record is 1,068. That was set by Belgium in 2014. So we're looking to get a few more people than 1,068. So encourage everybody to invite everybody you know, and make this a even more awesome event. So John, do you have any other announcements that you'd like to say before we say our farewell?
Yes. If any of you listening or viewing us at any point would like to be part of our team, we are looking for various people to fill different roles, from a virtual assistant to help with social media, marketing, accounting, digital marketing like social media posting, helping with putting search words on podcasts and leading podcasts,
we can give you more details, but if you'd like to help with any of the marketing aspect or any of the ones already named as a virtual assistant, please be sure to get on our calendar. That's Calendly, CALENDLY.com/Jenns Books and More. That's JENNS Books and More.
Also, you can go on the same link to get on our calendar if you'd like to be considered for a social media manager role. And this person would also be helping with search engine optimization and other things like that. And the social media candidate, as well as the public relations candidate for doing press releases, maybe helping write blog posts and help with search words or posting social media and so forth. But that's public relations in addition to social media marketing that we're talking about. If you want to do any combination, please also, even if it's for these positions, go to calendly.com/JENNS Books and More. That's Calendly, CALENDLY.com/JENNS Books and More. We are right now recording this on January 2nd, 2023. It is presently 3:30 Central Time, and we are looking for candidates to start filling these roles, as well as candidates to help co-host, co-produce, co-manage, co-lead, and other ways participate as part of the production so we can generate and make more podcasts, in addition to having more on our team to expand the work productivity together. If you are interested in any of these roles, we are willing to share a percentage of the profitability as all of us work together like different business owners as a team, with us all splitting the profit. And we don't pay anybody any set amount of dollars per hour. Everybody's on their percentage of the team effort of growing the podcast. So if you're interested in any of those, go to Calendly, CALENDLY.com/JENNS Books and More. If this is not something you're interested in, but you know somebody, please be sure to send it to them, share, copy and paste it to them, or however else to get it to the other people. If you're interested in being on our podcast as a guest speaker, you can also go to the same link, and we would like to meet with you and see if possibly you would like a partnership to have a show about you, your business, and what you do, or what you represent, such as a cause. We love working with churches, Bible teachers, pastors, and others who love to spread the word of Christ, in addition to for-profit businesses where we can each help each other profit more. Whatever may be your trade or reason for interest, we want to hear from you. So please go ahead and meet with us. If you want to be a guest speaker, please go to calendly.com/Jaws Coffee Chat. All guest speakers who want to speak just an episode or so forth to join shows we already have, as opposed to making a show for your own about your trade, please go to calendly.com/JAWS Coffee Chat. And there, Emily will make sure you get added to the right TV show, or not TV show, but the right podcast show that you are interested in being present as a guest speaker on.
I would like to, or we would like to thank everybody who came on today, as well as everybody who tuned in.
Let's look at this one real
Okay.
quick. If you are a female who would like to study the Bible, network, have discussion groups and social events together, please go to meetup.com/aspire-women-for-excellence, or go to meetup.com and just look up Aspire Women for Excellence. This is a Bible study where you can find me, and you can also, if you're another female, join for networking or entrepreneurship, what they call entrepreneurship, which is the Aspire Women for Excellence faith networking for entrepreneurs who are females and faith-driven Christian women. We don't have anything presently for men. However, you can go on meetup.com and look up Bible studies for men or networking for Christians and other things of that nature for the men. However, we are welcoming all women from everywhere because our Bible studies, entrepreneurship, networking, and everything else is done virtually using Meetup. It shows as announcements of the date and time on Meetup, but we actually meet on Zoom. And if you'd like to learn more about me, Jennifer A. Whitaker, please go to our website and check us out at Jenns, JENNS, booksandmore.com. And that's where you can learn more about myself, Jennifer A. Whitaker, aka Jaw, www.jennsbooksandmore.com. Over to you, Emily.
All right, we would like to thank everybody who came on today, as well as everybody who tuned in. Special thanks to Marcus Hart of Transforming Media and Jay, the historian of the Disability Channel, and Zach Clayton of the PAC Channel, and having us have the show on their platforms. If you're watching this but have any questions, comments, concerns, can always reach out to us at jawscoffeechat@gmail.com, and someone will get back to you as soon as we can. Also want to encourage everybody to go to all of our Jaws Coffee Chat social media pages and groups, and like, subscribe, share, comment, interact with our social media pages, and wherever you found us. And our next mental health awareness show will be next Monday, January 9th. Back here at 2:30 p.m. Central. As you're interested in tuning in again next week. And so on behalf of Jen, John, and Kurt, we wish you all a productive and safe and productive week, and stay happy.